So in today's forecast, we're going to cover the current conditions here, which we show the snowfall on the map occurring up into parts of Michigan, Minnesota, back to Montana and Washington State, and the deep south. Pretty calm right now with quiescent conditions, right? We're going to also talk about the winter storm potential and certainty of it here almost really at this point for the upper Midwest and the record heat out west here, as well as the severe weather potential in the coming days. Yes, severe weather is going to come again to the deep south, the plains, and the east coast here in the coming days. When it comes to severe weather, we're back at it again starting on Sunday. This is day 3. The first 2 days, we're not anticipating any severe weather as far as thunderstorms, right? We have some thunderstorms, but severe limits not to be reached here. This is due to a cold frontal passage, a sharp, very strong front moving to the west here as we go through Sunday. So we already have a moderate risk here, 30% any severe risk from just to the west of Memphis, excuse me, all the way up into parts of Indiana, all the way up to some areas in Michigan that had severe weather not too long ago with the tornadoes. Okay, this environment is going to be a little bit different. Not a good chance for moisture to return to the north here with this, and so strong frontal forcing combined with some instability will lead to mostly a high wind event, but we could have winds approaching hurricane force or higher, conditional intensity group 1, and this could increase in the coming days as the confidence increases about the location as well, may move around, but slight risk and marginal risk extends all the way down to the Gulf Coast and all the way up towards the border of Wisconsin and some of the Great Lakes areas here as well. Now, moving into the next day, we already have an enhanced risk along the eastern seaboard here, all the way from South Carolina, all the way up to parts of Pennsylvania, and the enhanced risk, well, the slight risk here, 15%, and 30% any severe here, North Carolina, a small portion of northern South Carolina, and up into Maryland here. So this is likely going to be a wind event as well, but you can't rule out tornadoes with this either. And the SPC also notes the possibility of prefrontal tornadoes, supercells forming in this area before the cold front pushes through. So if that happens, we could have really some intense weather. This would be on Monday, during the day on Monday. And after that, conditions will become much quieter for several days here, okay, after that cold frontal passage. Here's a first look at the forecast as these going into Sunday afternoon with a strong cold front developing with storms to the north here with snow on the backside of this, right? We'll talk about that separately here in a few minutes. Cold front pushes to the east. Severe line of storms here. You can see embedded within this line, very intense winds possible here. Low pressure up to the north here. Streaming to the north, very strong low pressure developing here for the mid-latitudes, right? This moves to the east. Backside snow potential here into Nashville with this. Let's see what happens there. Okay, well, interesting. I want to develop a snowstorm on the backside of this into the Nashville area. What looks like maybe another low pressure developing offshore here, right? Throwing moisture back. The NAM really wants to, wow, okay. Well, we'll talk about this too. We got some backside snow going into parts of Alabama and the frozen precip here on the backside of this. So, interesting if this plays out this way. You can see prefrontal storms may be developing here, and this model isn't that great at depicting this. Let's go to the Rufus and see it. It's not that reliable for location this far out, like you know, direct impacts, but you can see in general how this is portraying it to look. Okay, this moves through the deep south, and then you have a bunch of prefrontal convection here maybe even down into Georgia here. I have a feeling this is a little bit overdone. However, you can see in general what his thoughts are. Not nearly as bullish on the backside snow here either. So, um, now one of the parameters we look at with severe weather, go over this briefly, is the dew point temperatures, right? And this is the Rufus A. This is supposed to replace the NAM, right? 60-degree dew points and 50 all the way up to the north. So instability won't be that great, but if these dew points can be realized anywhere in the warm sector, we could have some severe storms. So as far as record temperatures out west here, let's go back here, the beginning of this. Okay, this is GFS. This is showing the 500 millibar height anomalies. You see these high pressure building out west here with this low pressure digging deep, but that's our upcoming storm here to the west. Heights response on the east side and west side of this, height rises. Okay, where you have this, you're going to have colder temperatures here, really strong high pressure blocking high up to the north here. This high pressure building out west, all right, that troughs things through. You can see this high pressure here at the upper mid levels, very warm air aloft. Okay, and this persists, and maybe it's just to the east some as we get further in the period and dampens out somewhat. You see this trough to the east and trough to the west will likely keep this from moving that much, right? If we get further out, less certain here, but you see why in the pattern the temperatures are going to be so warm. And next we'll go over the temperature anomalies coming up here. So these are the temperature anomalies out west. It's going to be scorching hot out here, guys. Unbelievable. You know, I won't want to be out here right now when this goes on. You see this is a 10-day temperature anomaly forecast. Okay, initialized today, 10, 20, maybe 30 degrees of pushing 20 degrees above normal. All right. Now let's go back to the 1 day. Okay, this initialized back here. You can see the daily anomalies like close to 20, 30 degrees above normal, even in northern high plains here. Okay. Now let's contrast that to the east, below normal here. So you see at the beginning of this, around the 17th, 18th, 20, 30 degrees below normal to the east here. So it's going to even out some as we get through time, right? The anomalies move to the east, but you can see that trough remains to the east. Warm temperatures remain out west here, with potential building even further to the east here, flattening somewhat, at least according to the GFS ensemble, right? But then maybe just above normal still in the central U.S. Through the extended. So that's it's going to be brutal here the next week or so out west. So if we look at the dew point temperatures, we can see how dry it'll be. Okay, real quickly here. Stand by. All right, out west here, you can see how dry it's going to be. Dew points 20s, 30s here. So when you have dew points at this negative dew points here in the central high plains, and you look at the temperature, interesting to start the period, still pretty cold here, right? Then we get further on, see how hot it gets in the desert southwest. Okay, so to start off with, you know, kind of cold, right? Dew points, not too bad. And we get towards further out here, you see how hot it gets here for actual temperatures. Look at dew points, still in the 20s and 30s here, right? Exception of the California valleys here, all right? So precip is not going to be plentiful out here, guys. Very dry, very dry. Go back to temperatures here. Actual temperatures approaching 100 degrees out here, even in the 80s and 90s here in the central plains, okay? Start boundary out here to the northeast as well, where that low pressure moves through. So be prepared now for out here because it's going to warm up a lot next week. So let's not forget about the snow going on in the upper Midwest currently, right? So we have heavy snow on the northeast and the northern side of this low pressure as it moves off to the northeast, northeast here. Moves towards Buffalo, Ithaca, Rochester, points eastward. You have moisture streaming on the west coast here as well. Okay, so that system takes shape here. Our next system takes shape in the central U.S., right? Develops on the east side of the Rockies, all right? Heavy snow into Saturday night on the north side of this, Minneapolis, Bismarck, Fargo. We could be in some very heavy snow wherever this sets up here. I'm not going to say this exactly where it's going to be, but you can see these heavy snow bands here right on the southern edge of this precipitation shield, okay? This system moves to the east. And where this line sets up, it's going to be critical for the rain snow line, right? So this low pressure is already starting to deepen here. Moves to the northeast, northeast here. Heavy snow on the north side of this, right? And on the back side as well, through the Denver area, maybe some some bands of heavy snow here, right? So the system really starts cranking now, although it's really developing at this point. So you have the backside snow here all the way down into Oklahoma, potentially. Okay, we'll see how that works out, but low pressure starts moving to the north here. Heavy snow on the backside of this, where it was raining not too long ago, right? See, as it moves to the east, you get backside snow all the way down into potentially parts of Arkansas here. Very strong system, 981 millibars, which is really low for mid-latitudes here. 980. You see, it wants to bring backside snow even to Nashville here. Okay. Heavy snow potential on the backside of this, but like I said, wherever this sets up, but the northeast, just rain. Okay. Cold front swings to the east, and that's where this model ends. We take it a little bit further out with a GFS. All right. Not as bullish with backside snow, but you can see the potential is here with the mid-level feature moving through. Strong cold front moves to the east, low pressure moves to the north here, and then you get into Tuesday and moves out to sea, and cold air left in its wake. Okay, so let's go and look at totals real quick. Just briefly, or where we think that, at least right now, where the National Weather Service thinks the heaviest snow will be in the coming days. Starting off at the on the northern tier of the U.S., the system that's happening right now. Heavy snowfall amounts are up in northern UP and Michigan and parts of New York State and along the lee side of the Great Lakes here, right? So we look at ice with this. Not expecting a lot of ice initially with this one, right? This is total, okay? And this is the national database by the National Weather Service. So it takes national blended models and blends them all together with totals, okay? So moving back out to the northern part of the country, north central, we go further out with the system, the next system, right? You see the ice here, wherever the system is setting up, right? We go back to snowfall. See where the heaviest snowfall amounts are forecast to be as the system moves down to the south. Wherever this sets up, 9, 10 inches of snow on the the northern tier of the U.S., northern tier of the U.S. here, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota here, right? And then you can see where the highest total is projected to be. Now this is, let's see, Monday. All right, Monday morning. So we still got some time to refine the forecast here. So we switch back to the east. All right, so let's look at the Great Lakes closer here. So we have 30 inches of snow possible, at least the totals, right? So we already had some snow up there. This just adds to it. 30, 40 inches of snow in some areas potentially here, okay? And move this through time. The totals are about 40 inches in some areas. So that's going to be an insane amount of snow here. To areas that probably most of the snow is melted by now. So we go to ice. The highest ice accumulations are going to be like, where the warm air meets the cold air on the backside. So this isn't exactly where it's going to set up, but this is an initial look at it here. So, and moving back to the east, there is potential for having some snow on the backside of this system down in the deep south. And we'll see how this plays out. But you see the National Wind Models has some snowfall in the Appalachians and portions to the west of the Appalachian Mountains here. So we'll keep an eye on that here. Now looking at temperatures. Okay. Highs and lows. Let's take a look here. Cooling off quite a bit, but warming up during the day here. Cold push of air, and you see the cold front pushing to the east here. All right, into Tuesday. This is 30s and 40s here, so much colder than it has been. Okay, you see 20s and 30s up to the north here, maybe single digits as well. The temperatures moderate some, but still remaining relatively mild and not as hot, nearly as hot as it used to be this past week here. But we get towards the end of the period, of course, less certain here. So a lot going on. I appreciate y'all watching, and I would appreciate it if you subscribe and like my video and comment on it. I appreciate that. Hope you all have a blessed day.